This is my Ahsoka SE Neopixel lightsaber hilt, which is one of two identical lightsabers that I have. And on it is the standard 1-inch diameter Neopixel blade with 144 LEDs on two back-to-back strips. Pretty much has been the standard Neopixel blade that comes with most Neopixel lightsabers. Now on this identical hilt is the new 1-inch diameter, ultra bright Neopixel blade with 4 strips of 684 LEDs from Sabers. Let's deep dive into it. What's up everybody, it's Prano Tony and you're watching Lightsaber Culture. Today we're going to take a look at the recently released Saber 1-inch ultra bright Neopixel blade. And I also offer this video as a buying guide if you are ready to buy an ultra bright Neopixel blade. So at the time of this video, I am not an affiliate partner with Saber. I actually bought this blade myself. I've been interested in getting a brighter blade for a while now, but this one met 2 criteria for me. It's at a price point that won't hurt as bad if I happen to damage it while dueling. $150 is only a little bit more than a standard Neopixel blade. Be sure to stick around till the end of the video where we compare this blade with multiple other blades from the market. Also, be sure to subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon if this video was helpful to you. Doing so helps us create more videos like this for your custom lightsaber shopping needs. Now, to review this blade, some colors like green are significantly brighter than the standard. Notice that I can still see the green on the standard blade, but I see the overexposure on the ultra bright Neopixel. Now with some other colors, you might see a small difference or visibly no difference at all. Now let's set this to color change. Blue is one where I really can't tell the difference, whether it's with the camera or my eyes. And while it's not the most accurate way to measure, I did do a lux reading on my iPhone, and blue barely has 1,000 lux of a difference. Red, you can really tell the difference here. Now there are even colors that look slightly different, especially when we go into the magentas and purples. Now on camera, this one might look a little whiter than this, but with my eyes, this one is closer to a blue purple, while this is more of a solid purple. And with magenta, the Saber blade looks more saturated, which looks great. But the standard blade looks less saturated, but might be arguably a little brighter or whiter. But I actually prefer this solid looking color right here. And on camera, it looks a little bluer as it reflects on the stand, while this one probably arguably more purple looking. Now the big one that I see is with the white color. Now I'm not sure if this is just a lemon, but the white color I have here, it kind of fades into yellow, and it's like a pretty prominent yellow when it gets to the end. So I'm gonna pick this up, white over here, going into yellow, versus somewhat closer to a bluish white, which is more like how it appears on screen. And just to make sure it's not the specific board causing this, I'm gonna swap the blades. So now I'm using the hilt that was originally on my standard Neopixel. So I'm gonna turn this on. I'm using a different hilt now, and as you can tell, it's still yellow at the end, white in the middle. See, look at that. And in case it's not visible on the camera, I'm gonna take a photo, lower the exposure, just to show you guys what it looks like with your eyes. And again, here's the standard against the ultra bright. And once again, a photo right there. So at the time of this video, I sent an email to Saber asking whether this is normal or if this blade needs replacement. So I'm just waiting back to hear from them. So if I do hear back from them after this video is published, I'll pin a comment down below. One thing that's undeniable about this blade is basically there's little shadowing between each strip. So when I'm turning it around, I cannot tell that I'm turning it unless there's like a speck of dust or some residue on there from the plastic, but you almost can't even tell that I'm turning it. While on the standard, sorry for the flicker, it's not seated that well, I can see there's some shadowing here. Yep, there's some right there. So I know it's not that visible on camera because of the exposure, but basically on a standard blade, it's 2 LEDs back to back, and there's a shadow where the LEDs aren't pointed to. But because the brighter blade is basically a square, it's shining in all directions, in 4 directions, so the shadowing is very minimal. In this case, it's not even visible to me. So is this blade twice as bright as some people say it is? And for the most part, yes it is. But it does depend on the color and depends on if this specific unit is representative of the product in general. So now speaking generally for all quantum style blades like this, the advantage of an ultra bright blade is not just because it looks brighter, but because it's brighter, it's more visible in the daylight. And like we said, because the LEDs are facing more directions than just 2, it reduces the shadow areas, giving it a bright and even glow. You'll be blindingly bright at the next Saber meetup at Galaxy's Edge during Star Wars night. And what's awesome is that these new blades are compatible with any standard Neopixel lightsaber that supports a 1-inch diameter connector. As you saw, I was using them interchangeably. For now, Saber doesn't offer a 7/8 inch version, but there is a company that does, and we'll talk about them in a little bit. 7/8 inch diameters are for hilts like the TXQ Anakin Skywalker, or for folks who like to convert their hilts with 1-inch connectors to a thinner and lighter blade. Now there are some disadvantages that I should mention. With more LEDs packed in here, it's definitely heavier than a standard blade. So let's bring out the scale. So here's my standard blade, which is just a little over half a pound. And here's the ultra bright one, which is at 0.6 pound. Now that might not seem like much, but even when I hold it, there's something that feels emptier with the standard blade, while this one has a little bit more mass and you can feel it when you're swinging it. So it's wintertime at the time I'm making this video, so I have not been able to take this new blade to my lightsaber dueling sessions. But I'll keep you updated what real-world durability is for this blade for when I do bring it out into the wild. I'll also talk about my real-world experience with Neopixel blade durability in general in another video, because my experience counters the conventional wisdom. But the accepted idea is standard thickness with a standard LED strip risks damage with heavy dueling. And the same risk is implied by Saber, saying this blade is for light dueling as opposed to heavy dueling. And even if you don't duel and you just like to spin your saber, is durability still relevant for when you drop your saber when practicing? Now with 680 LEDs, that is more than 4.7 times the amount of a standard 144 LED Neopixel blade. I'm not sure if that means it will draw power from the battery at the same rate, but it is a fact that your battery drain will be significantly faster. Now I'm gonna mention a battery recommendation from one of the companies coming up. Now, as I mentioned, as this was a review of the Saber blade, I wanted to offer this video as a buying guide if you're looking for an extra bright blade. So one of the earliest developers of triple, quad, and now even pentastrip Neopixel blades is Civilized Sabers. His TriStar blade is even available in photon green, which can enhance the brilliance of the green color when you set the pixel color to a teal. It's probably the only instance I've seen anyone use a photon tube with Neopixel, since they are usually used to enhance a baselit hilt. Now, I've never tried their products, but from what I've gathered from others, his blades are high quality. And if his prices seem a little inaccessible, he also sells parts and kits, so you can build your own TriStar or QuadStar blade yourself. We spoke about battery life earlier. In a DM with Civilized Sabers, they said that the typical 18650 lithium battery that comes with most lightsabers is fine for up to a TriStar blade. But if you're going for a QuadStar or higher, basically 4 strips or more, they recommend a 21700 or a higher battery. And huge credit goes out to Civilized Sabers for pushing the market. Now, another company that I love buying blades from that introduced their own ultra bright quad strip blades is Bendu Armory. A while ago, they came across my radar for offering baselit and Neopixel battle blades with heavy grade thickness that come with a lifetime warranty. I've never broken any pixel blade yet, but at the time, my experience with Neopixels was still fresh, and I felt I needed a battle blade. Now, these battle blades are kind of the opposite of an ultra bright saber, since battle blades have a thicker plastic to protect the LEDs, but it's at the cost of their brightness. Not to mention they're a little heavier and the shadow area are a lot thicker. But the ones specifically labeled as battle blades have a lifetime warranty. In fact, they have a video where they hammered the blade multiple times against a tree and it still worked. Video right here. Now Bendu also offers Neopixel blades with KR strips, which are a little bit brighter, but are more delicate than the standard LED pixel strips. Although they offer KR in both standard and heavy grade, the heavy grade is not covered under the same lifetime warranty as do the battle blades. I have both the standard and heavy KR blades from Bendu Armory, which we'll use to compare later in the video. Now Bendu recently introduced their V4 Quantum blades. They're not only available in a 1-inch standard configuration for $156, but they're the only company that also offers them in a 1-inch heavy blade for $150, as well as a 7/8 inch diameter show blade also for $150. Keep in mind that the heavy grade blade is not labeled as a battle blade with a lifetime warranty. The only reason I haven't picked one up from Bendu Armory is because at the time of this video, all their Quantum blades are offered only in a 36-inch length. Imagine how heavy that blade would be like. It'll probably be like wielding King Arthur's sword. In a DM with Bendu Armory, they told me that 36-inch is only what they offer for now, but they're hoping that SaberTech, who produces their Quantum pixel strips, will make other sizes soon. Now I know there are more companies starting to offer quad strip blades out there, so I can't cover them all since the market is starting to catch on to these new blade styles. But I do hope to see offerings of the heavy grade as well as 7/8 inch in other shorter blade lengths like 32 as well as 26. And hopefully what these three companies have offered can serve as a buying guide to see what's available, what to expect, or know what to ask for when you're shopping for one. So as I promised, let's do a comparison between 4 lightsaber blades. If you wanted to see actual luminous readings of several blades, once again, you gotta check out John from the Collector's Outpost. I'll link one of his comparison videos right here. The blades we have here, we got the 1-inch diameter Neopixel blade with 144 LEDs. This is the standard. We also have the Bendu Armory V2 KR heavy blade right here. On the third hilt, we have the 1-inch V2 KR show blade, which is the standard thickness. And lastly, we have the Arch Saber Ultra Bright Neopixel Blade. All the blades are 32 inches and every hilt here is either using an SN Pixel V4 or an SN Pixel V4 Pro electronics board, all with an 18650 lithium battery. They'll all be set to the same color on a solid blade style. And to make sure it's a fair comparison, you may have noticed that on my channel, all my cameras are set manually to a fixed exposure. They're never on an auto exposure setting. That way, the perceived blade illumination doesn't change, and I think it looks more in-universe when the core is slightly overexposed when it's bright. The exposure of the overhead camera is lowered to avoid the comparison from washing out. All right, lights are off, here we go. So basically we can see that the KR blades are slightly brighter than the standard, but the Ultra Saber blade is definitely the brightest out of the 4 here. Let's try a different color. So here's blue, and I can barely tell a difference between how any of these 4 looks. I don't even think there really is a difference, and that was what I was discovering earlier. Now, I do remind you that blue is also the hardest of the colors for a camera sensor. Like, just look at how ugly it looks with the front camera. Now, let's switch to another solid color. Now, we can tell that the Arch Saber blade is definitely brighter than the other 3. But I can see some differences between the 3. KR Heavy is just slightly dimmer than KR Standard. But the standard blade, to my eyes, looks just ever so slightly brighter than the KR blades. I would have actually expected the opposite. All right, lights back on. So we hope this video was helpful for you. I'll leave all the reference videos, as I mentioned earlier, Bendu Armory's Battle Blade durability test right here, and Collector's Outpost luminance comparison over here. Be sure to watch their videos and let them know who sent you. May the force be with you.